Hey everybody, it's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore
coming at you. And we're so glad that you're here, and we pray that you guys are just blessed by what the Lord has to share today. And we also
Day 11.
Yes. Wow, Day 11. And
Oil and Spices episode 71. Oh, that's going to be a 7111.
Nice.
111 coming at you. Mark 111. Go read it.
And and also just a huge thank you to everyone who continues to give to us. We just appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah.
And just such a blessing. And if you would like to give to us, because we are support-based, you can. We have a PayPal link below, and you can just click that.
Well, and by the time you guys see this one, it'll be Thursday, and we have some other videos coming. But you know, the week is approaching, so just keep that in mind for those of you who support us on a regular basis. Okay, so this is going to be a cool word, and it should be encouraging for everyone it applies to. I'll just preface it. Everyone's like, oh, as a disclaimer, this is not good. This is the jab. He's setting us up for the right hook. No, not really. But anyway, so, you know, on our journey, we've had a lot of pictures about what our journey has been about. You know, we've been in a cave, we've been in an ark, and we've been in a garden. And we've also been on the mountain. That's where we're at right now. And the funny thing is, the cave, the ark, and the garden have all landed on the mountain or had their place. The ark landed on the mountain. The cave and the garden was actually on a mountain. So it's like we've been on this mountain this whole time, this whole journey. This has pictures of different parts of the mountain, you know. And based on that, I really felt like using those pictures, the Lord gave me this word, okay? And he said, and a lot of times when I'm hearing from the Lord and I'm writing stuff down, it's not so much a thus saith the Lord. It's just I'm kind of getting like, you know, I'm kind of like doing dictation. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the way it's going to come across. So it says, we're in a cave, an ark, and a garden, and we're on the mountain practicing the ways of God. Meaning intimacy with the Lord, letting him do the 4-4-4 moments like we talked about before, and just letting him stick us in the fire and the water and rebrand us and repurpose us and really do what he's been doing for the last 3.5 years. We've been practicing the ways of God. We will see how beneficial all the working out is when we come out. It's like we're going to see how beneficial all this stuff that we're doing. See, we're doing all this stuff in secret. We're praising, we're praying, we're fasting, we're doing all these things. We're walking in obedience. We're passing these little tiny minute tests that no one else knows about it but you and the Lord, you know, and you're going through all these things, but you're not necessarily seeing the immediate benefit from it. And it's like, but you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep going, because he's like, you know what, my heart's for the Lord, and his heart's for me. That's what it's all about, and I'm just going for him. I'm doing this for him. I'm living my life for him. And one of the problems with constantly doing something over and over and over and over and over again and not seeing any results is craziness. You know what I'm saying? You just go insane, you know. The weight, that's the problem with the weight. Ooh, the weight of the weight is because it's just like, oh my gosh, it's like we've been doing Groundhog Day now for about 3 years. You know, it's like, what's the deal? You know, and the Lord's like, you're going to see the benefit of it when you come out. And the Lord reminded me of that vision of this huge group of people in this cave, in this kind of cavernous, like almost like a hollowed out mountain. And it's like, these are all the people who have answered my call. These are all the people who have heard me saying, hey, come this way. And it's almost like you're going along with this big old crowd, your culture, your denomination, your whatever, and you see the Lord and he says, hey, come over this way. Come with me. And you step away from the crowd to go follow the Lord into something that's really unorthodox and weird, and, you know, like the life we live in our channel, that's just bizarre, but the Lord is clearly with you and he's on it. And it's just like, wow, this is weird. This is a journey, you know. It kind of makes you feel like a disciple of Jesus back in the day, just without the miracles. What would it be like to follow Jesus if he did no miracles at all? You know what I'm saying? Nothing like super obvious that's like attention drawing and everyone's chasing him down for their miracle. You know what I mean? He would do things that were like miraculous, but only for you, and be like, don't tell anybody about that. You know what I mean? That would be an interesting way of like following him, especially if those kind of miracles didn't happen all that often, you know, not anything that was like mind blowing, you know. And it's like, so there's a group of people, you know, that we affectionately term the remnant, who are following the Lord. Now this is the deal. These are the people that God's talking to. I just want to make that plain up front, you know, that these are the people that God is speaking to with this word. Okay. And so let me backtrack a little bit. We're in a cave, an ark, in a garden, on a mountain, practicing the ways of God. We will see how beneficial all the working out of these ways of God is when we come out. Some will come out and go one way, while others will go another way, both to blessed places. That was an important part I felt like the Lord wanted me to highlight there. It's like they're both going to blessed places, but they're different. Some will go back to school. Others will go to recess and playtime. Those who go back to school go because they played during school time. The others did their work during school time and get the reward of recess and play. And so that was the gist of what I got. Now in this vision, I saw like this cave door open. It was just like, it wasn't even so much a cave door open. It had already been opened in the vision. And so there's this kind of like big opening, and people were coming out and they were filing out and they were going like this, you know, and there were a ton. This is the difficult part for me because I don't really like it. I'm like, well, Lord, this kind of is not encouraging if you're in the one group, because anyway, but I'm just going to give you what the Lord gave me, okay? There were a lot more people going to the right than there were going to the left. The people that were going off to the right, because everyone came out and they didn't know where they were going or what they were doing. And so the Lord, by the Spirit, you could tell he was directing them, you know? And a lot of people went to the right and ones went to the left. The ones that were going to the right, they were the ones that were going back to school. And they were going to be the ones that were going to continue to learn the things they were supposed to learn in the cave and in the garden and in the ark and in the, you know what I mean, on the mountain. They were supposed to learn some things. They didn't learn them. So God's like, they're going to continue to learn these things, but now you're going to do it outside. You know, it's like when you do homeschooling, you know, it's like, come on, let's go learn this stuff outside. And there's something about doing the exact same stuff in a different environment that makes it actually easier to learn. It takes the monotony away, you know. And so, you know, some of you out there, you've just been crushed and numbed by the monotony of everything that's going on, and there's just certain things that the Lord's trying to do that's just not sinking in. You know, and
it's almost like being like really similarly to like a survival mode. You're just making it through in a lot of ways, where maybe just there's so much going on in your own heart that it's just making it seemingly impossible to really grab a hold of what God is really wanting to do in your heart at this time. But then it's like, to have that change of environment, it's like it will change just even like for your heart. It will allow you to open up so that you can learn the things that the Lord is like, hey, I wanted you to learn these things, but now we can actually start doing that.
Well, and it's not like that's saying, okay, you got to go to school and then the promise is fulfilled. No. The promise is actually fulfilled.
That's why it's
things are happening and it's a blessed place, but it's a little harder than it necessarily needed to be, because you know, the things that were needed to be learned just weren't learned because there was too much surviving and there's too much self-preservation and self-protection. And I'm like, but Lord, you called them out and they followed you. And it's like the Lord's like, I'm not going to deny them the reward of answering the call to come and follow me and be in the place they're in and all that stuff. I'm not going to deny that. I'm just going to give them another opportunity to learn these things. I'm like, but Lord, you know, just saying here, you knew that was going to happen, you know? And so I'm asking the Lord, I'm like, you knew that was going to happen. And the Lord, I felt like the Lord was like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen. But that all that has happened is what needed to happen to get them to the place they are now.
Yeah.
Talking about the group that has to go back to school. And he's like, they didn't do anything wrong per se. It was just, you have to judge for yourself. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, they didn't necessarily do anything wrong per se in general. They might have missed this here and missed that there and missed this here and missed that there. And those things are, it's important to have those things made known. Your 444 moments, It's important to have those things made known, because if you don't have them made known, then you won't know it in the other place either. They have to be revealed. These things, these areas, these issues have to be revealed. Well, your first response to having that thing revealed, or ugliness, or whatever it is, your first response might be like, oh, no. And you might have to do that 400 times before you're like, you know what, I got to stop responding like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, that's when you're coming out. It's like that. At that point where you come out and the promise is fulfilled and there's a blessing and there's overflow, that's the moment you get triggered again, and then you go, you know what, I can't keep responding like, look at what God's done. I can't keep responding like this fight or flight survival thing. Can't keep doing that, and so there's a learning process. And so the ones that go off to the right, they are going to a blessed place. They are learning again. They are getting to the promise fulfilled. It's like if you're having a baby, there's certain things that you need to do and learn while you're pregnant before the baby comes. If you don't learn those things, well, the baby's still coming, okay? And it's just like, once you get the baby, it's just like, oh, this is why I should have learned about diapers. Oh, this is why I should have learned about this. But oh, this is why I should have bought more onesies. They were telling me to buy more onesies. I didn't. Now I got to get some babysitter to come over, or can you go get them for me? See, and all that stuff could have been done ahead of time. Just as an example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but then it was like, there was a bunch of people. It broke my heart. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. It crushed me. I was just like, Lord, this is not even encouraging for me personally. I'm just like, I feel like Samuel, and God's like, how long are you going to weep over Saul? You know what I mean? It's like, grab your flask and go anoint somebody, It's like, all right, I really was wanting Saul to be the king. I thought you said, That was Samuel's problem. He was like, man, this is messed up. And it's like, what Saul did is not your problem, Samuel. You know what I'm saying? And so I was crushed. I was like, because what I saw in the vision was there was a lot of people going off to the right. It's like, we're all here waiting on these promises, and you think everyone is in the same place, but then you realize, wow, look at all the people that are going into their promises, but they're going back to school, kind of. And then there's other people. There were a few. It was that principle of the many and the few. The many took the broad path. The few took the narrow path. But it's funny because you're talking about the remnant who's gone away from the bigger broad path. But even in that place of, come on, I'm your personal trainer, I'm going to take you to the gym. Well, there's one that really takes to it, and they really get the results they want, and they get down to single digit body fat percentage, and they're just looking amazing. And the other person, it's almost like they did a lot of things, and they did some working out and all that stuff, but they also ate pretty bad, and they didn't rest well, and the workouts they were struggling through, they might have lost like 15 pounds, and you know what I'm saying? The results are reflective of the kind of work they put in, but they were in there the same amount of time as you, and you go, what happened? And it's just like, that's just what happened. Sometimes even in the remnant, there is a separation.
Well, and it's no different than with like the disciples. You see that even with Jesus, like he had his 12, but then there were 3 that he continually, like they got to see more of who he was. And he had Peter, James, and John. Like they were up on the Mount of Transfiguration with him. They went into the room when Jairus' daughter was brought back to life. So they're even in his own group, like there were those that, just like you were saying, they were pursuing the Lord, and so he was pouring more of himself into them. And I think that that it really is the same for us. It's like, as we pursue the Lord, he's pouring more into our hearts, and it really is an individual thing. And when it comes down to it, you have your, like you said in the example, it's like you can have a personal trainer, but if okay, well, I'm kind of half doing the workouts and half eating right, well, you're not surprised if at the end you didn't achieve your goals.
How many times you go to Penn Station this week, Devin? 4. It's like, Devin, those are not cheat meals, bro.
Yeah. That's
full on cheating on your whole diet plan. I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
True story. Back when we used to work out.
Yeah.
Like, I've only had a couple cheat meals. It's like, Devin, we went to Penn Station 4 times. Oh, yeah. I forgot about those other 2.
And you ate the cookie every time.
The cookie that has like 900 calories. And you ate 2 of them. True story. One then and then one later.
Yeah.
It's like, are you taking this seriously, Devin? Yes, I'm taking this cookie very seriously. We're talking about the workouts, bro.
Yeah, I am working out.
I'm doing some pull-ups.
No,
those are some bicep curls.
Yeah, there you go.
Cookie munch. Repetition, man.
That's what it's about. Repetition.
Terrible. We're so off track right now,
yeah.
But it's fun. Anyway, that's what I saw. I saw a lot of people going off to the right, and then there were a few that were going on off to the left that were like that. And I was reminded of Malachi 4:2 about being released from the stall and running free, like, leaping calves and all that stuff. And I was like, whoa, cool. And so that's what I got this morning, and I was like, felt like we should share it.
Yeah.
It was kind of heartbreaking because I was like, man, because you don't want to judge. I'm not going to judge like even myself.
Yeah.
And what group am I going to be in? Well, Lord, you're going to have to decide that, because I know, based on my weak areas, I can judge myself inappropriately.
Yeah.
Or based on how good I think I'm doing on a particular day, I think I will still judge myself inappropriately. It's like, well, Lord, and that's why the Lord's like, listen, they're both blessed places.
Yeah.
There's reward for all the remnant. They're all going to different places. And not only that, I just feel like the Lord's saying that to me right now. It's like, even in those who are going back to school, there's still recess during school time. You know what I mean? But it's like the ones who are, they're like going on a permanent recess. They're just going on a recess. The ones on the left, they're just going to like Cedar Point or something, amusement park, for those who are not from the United States of America. Cedar Point, basically, is the best amusement park on the planet. Yes, I say it without shame. Thank you. Sandusky, Ohio, coming at you.
Well, but it does actually remind me when you were saying, like, even during school there's recess. But it reminded me of when I was in the, working with kids at schools and things like that. And there would be times where literally, like, most of the class they went to their recess, but then there were students that had to stay in to finish the work that they hadn't completed. Yeah. And most of the time it was students that, well, they were supposed to be doing their work, but they were too busy talking to somebody else or doing something, or, maybe they got lollygagging or whatever. And so, but once that work was finished, then they would be released as well to go out into the, recess time. And but just that, like, I really thank you, Lord, for what you're saying, because I think that there is still...
It was less time than the ones who had done their work, but they still got some recess time.
Exactly. Yeah. And to, because that's really, God's heart is a heart of love. And so even with, like you said, he's going to release God's people,
everybody
his people,
gets released
into the blessed places. But there is that need. It really is a need for him to make sure that you're equipped. You can't just, it's like, okay, well, you didn't learn these things. Well, let's get you equipped. You really need to do this. And if, okay, well, because of me releasing you, that's going to help your heart to be in a place for me to actually instruct you. Okay, well, then let's just go. Let's start allowing me to instruct you in those places. Yeah. And I agree. Even for myself, when I heard this morning, it's like, oh, Lord, like, which way am I going?
Which way am I going?
But it's like, you just have to trust the Lord, and he will, by his Spirit, really show you the direction that he has you going in.
Which way you going? You going into the blessed place. That's where you're going.
Exactly. You're going into the blessed place, and God will lead. He will be the one that's saying, okay, well, we need to learn some things. And I think even in that learning, it's not going to be the same as it was. You're not in the wilderness anymore. Mm-hmm. You're in a blessed place. And so there is a difference. It's, don't expect it to be the exact same as it was before, but there are things that you do have to just learn, and you're going to have to go through processes for that.
Well, here's an example. We've had to learn as YouTubers that there's just going to be haters out there. Mm-hmm. There's going to be haters out there, and you got to know how to deal with them. There's going to be people out there that seem to be going with you a certain amount of time, and then they just fall off the map, and they're just not with you anymore. Mm-hmm. You got to learn how to deal with that. There's going to be people who want to bring you opportunities, but the Lord's like, no. Mm-hmm. In the long run, He's going to be like, no, I was doing something there for a little while, but I'm done. Let's move on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so we've gone through all those, and it's like, but what if like every time, you get a negative comment, I'm still like trying to jump on it, and I'm still trying to, I want you to think properly about us, and I'm still, even to this day, if I'm still doing that, well, then I might have to go back to school on that. Mm-hmm. Because once God releases you into abundance, now you got people pointing their big old fingers at your abundance, and you're going to still handle it the way you've always handled it. That's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. In isolation, it's easy. When you get right face to face with people, that can be a problem. So that's just one example of like how you can maybe like go back to school on something, and it might even be harder because, for whatever reason, but if you learn like, okay, this is what I need to do, then you learn it and you move on. Mm-hmm. It's just like you say, man, I'm ready for the Army Rangers. Oh, you are? Okay, well, go back through boot camp. Like, what? Boot camp? I passed boot camp. Yeah, barely. You want to be a ranger, but no, thank you. Mm-hmm. You need to learn some stuff and really get it down before you go up to this higher level.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I just really.
That's all I got.
Yeah. And I just really feel though too, it's like this is not to not see it as a punishment, but to see
it's punishment
as the compassion of the Lord upon His people, because as you were speaking, I was just really getting this picture of just there are so many people in the remnant that literally you're still in this place of waiting for the promises, but it's like you've been struck down. You've been just like you barely have been hanging on.
Struck down, but not destroyed.
Your heart is just languishing and just honestly like still being. It's like you're with the remnant believing, but it's as if like you're still laying in the desert sand. The
desert stand. You're laying standing. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but you're just like laying down. It's been so hard, and you haven't really been able to fully get up, and it's been a struggle. And there's just like. And
the reality of that actually helps to keep you down.
Yeah, and
you're
so
kind of bummed out about it.
So I just think though that God, He's just like I just believe He just has such a tender heart of mercy for His people.
You're feeling it right now, aren't you?
Yeah, just like as He's looking upon the remnant, as He's looking upon these people that have said yes to His call, He just has a heart of full and complete compassion. There is no judgment on Him.
No condemnation.
For any person.
Basically, the Lord's saying, got nothing but love for you.
No, but there really isn't any condemnation. His heart is just full. Yeah. Like He actually is so delighted that there are the people that are there.
Yeah.
And for Him, it's like, would He love it if every person could go to the left and could go to recess? Yeah. Of course, who wouldn't? But at the same time, He's like, these are still my people, and they have gone through so much, and there's been so much hardship, and they've continued to press on towards me, and even if they're laying in the sand, at least they're still laying in the sand believing. There's still this small smidgen of like, yes, Lord, I'm going to keep going even though it's so difficult. And I just feel His tender heart of just like, I have nothing but love and compassion, and I'm going to send you and release all of you into these blessed places. And that in and of itself is going to do something for the heart. He's breathing life into his people. There are some of us who really are like fully, you're a whole person. You're just waiting for the breath of God to just, blow into you. You're waiting for that promise. But there is like a fullness to what God has done in your life over this time. But there are some that are still dry bones. But even to those dry bones, God's like, I'm going to make them live. They're going to rise up again. And so as they rise up, they're going to receive everything and go forward. And I'm going to start putting on to them everything that I wish I could have done. But it doesn't mean that he's going to complete and finish what he started. And there is no
well, it's not like he's not pleased.
Exactly. It's not that he's not
actually
pleased very
at all.
Pleased that there are those that every person who answers the Lord's call, God is rejoicing and he is well pleased with them. And maybe that's like the Mark 1:11. It's like, this is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased.
There you go.
And that is what the Lord is saying.
We've gotten that like 3 times just doing this video.
Yeah, and it's like, I just believe that's what the Lord is saying over this remnant. This is my son, like my children, in whom I am well pleased. I really dearly love them because they've answered my call. They've come after my heart, and I'm going to release them into the blessed place.
I want to give an example for UFC has this contest called the Contender Series. Happens every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Central Time. But anyway, and these guys, they're getting on trying to they're fighting as an audition to get a contract to be in the UFC. This one guy last night just got a contract, but he had been on the Contender Series 2 times already. And he's like, man, you're really good. You've got this and da. But man, it's like, I can't put you in the UFC just yet because you still got some work to do. And of course he's crushed, right? But it's like, no, Dana, the guy who's making the decision, he's like, no, you're actually good. You just need a little help here and a little help there. If you don't have that and I put you in there, you're going to get destroyed and you don't have any MMA career. It's like I'm trying to set you back. You think I'm holding you back. I'm not. I'm trying to set you up so that when you do come in, you can have a successful career. And then this guy, he's like, I'm going to invite you back next time. He got invited back. And he was like, man, he's gotten a lot better, but he still has this and this issue. And it's just like, all right. And so he could have went mopey and went and just started eating at Penn Station, but he went back into the gym. He's like, okay, these are the areas that Dana says I need to work on. Let's work on those things. Let's just work on, I got all this other stuff. I'm fine with those areas. Let's just focus all on this area. Focus on those areas, came back and just was tearing it up. And he was like, oh, man, you look good tonight. Come on in, bro. Come on in. You know what I mean? So it's like that a lot of times. Sometimes we come in to round 1, our first chance at it, and we go as good as we can, but it's just, we gave it all we had, and we didn't make it. Like me as an author, I realize now, like 6 years after publishing my first novel, I basically published a bunch of bones. I didn't realize it at the time, but it's like I basically published in novel form the bones of my story. And the whole thing needs to be reworked. But I didn't have anybody in my life at that time to tell me all these things. And the Lord wasn't really concerned about that. He was just like, no, man, come on, just get in there. Get in the mud. Just get in there and do it. Just get in there. And that's what I did. And I published 3 books. And I actually finished the 4th novel, but I didn't publish it. That's when the Lord told us, okay, stop everything you're doing. And that was in, March 2017? March 7th, I believe, 2017. I haven't written anything since then, as far as like novel type stuff. And I realized now, I was like, oh, I didn't even know it at the time. But man, am I glad that I did that. I'm so glad I did that, because now going back at it, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be so much better. Particularly with us paired up now. With us paired, me by myself, this is what I can do. Us paired together, oh man. Coming at you. So I think that's a good example of like, just because you fail doesn't mean you failed. You can feel failure that's not actually failure in reality. You know? So I just wanted to use that as another encouraging example.
Yes.
So,
well, that's what we have for you guys today. I do pray that you are blessed and encouraged by the word, and just know that
you're released into the blessed place.
Yes, he is releasing his people into the blessed place, and just know that his heart really is just so tender towards his people. Whether you're going straight to recess or you have to go back to school, either place, his heart is for you, not against you, and it really is not a place of condemnation at all.
No, not at all.
And really his heart is just like, I just want you to be equipped. I'm going to take you to the best possible place I can. So
hear that right
there.
So
until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.